All right, we're going to start. This is the committee. Can I get everyone's attention? This is just the committee of the whole right here. And we're going to go right into the agenda items. This is not the full RTM meeting. We're going to do the committee as a whole first and go through the building committee members. We'll basically bring them up. In fact, Ed, do you even want to run this part of the meeting? Is L&A chair? Actually, no, if you want to leave that role, I'll just do it. Okay, so all we're going to do, this is just a big committee meeting right now. So we have certainly a quorum to do that, so we're going to just start right. First of all, welcome everybody. Hope everyone had a nice summer. Hope it still goes for another few days for some people. But good to see everyone back. I haven't seen you all in, I think, a few months. We'll just go right into item number 2 as a committee, and this is to hear, consider, and act upon the following appointments to the Fairfield-Ludlow High School Building Committee as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Mark G. Andre, Democrat, 130 Lakeview Drive. Mark A. Donald, unaffiliated, 360 Zost Drive. Donna B. Ertel, Democrat, 375 South Benson Road. Terry F. Leopold, unaffiliated, 146 Coleman Road. Joseph R. Pagnozzi, Republican, 1496 Fairfield Woods Road. Robert Sickler, if I pronounce that correctly, unaffiliated, 175 Wakeman Road. David F. Weber, Democrat, 1654 North Benson Road. So I think the best thing to do at this point is those of you who are here, if you could, are you all here? Is anyone not here? Do we know? You're right, but can is someone from the Board of Ed? Yeah, I want them up here. I'm trying to determine. Yeah. Mark Andre. Let's just get everyone up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So who's not here, Mike? Do you know these? There. Okay, so why don't the best way to do this is I'll just do in the order I called. Mr. Andre, if you just want to come up and briefly introduce yourself and give a 1-minute explanation why you want to be in the building committee.
Oh, that's a long one. My name is Mark Andre. I'm a Fairfield resident. I live at 130 Lakeview Drive. I moved to town about 13 years ago. I'm a local architect.
Stay on the mat for Jerry. The mat right next to you.
Oh.
There we go. Yep.
I'm afraid I might slip. Anyway, I wanted to get involved. What I still have a little bit to give. I have a small practice in town, and I figure I can use my skills right now as an architect. Maybe I can bring a different point of views. And primarily, that's the reason. I have a kid in the public school. My brother went to Fairfield Public School. He just graduated from Southern State University. And I figure I still have a few more years. By the time I turn 60 or 70, I may not want to do that kind of work. I might want to relax a little bit. So I want to, split a little bit of my time and give a little back to the town that's actually helped me and helped me to help others strive. As of today, I just hired 1 new employee, so I can say Fairfield been good to myself, my practice, my family, and I figure what better way to contribute to the town. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll go to the next person, Mark Donald.
Hi, I'm Mark Donald. Fairfield resident for about 8 years now, and I think it was time for me to get involved in civic life. I have a unique perspective, I think, is I'm a principal in the Bronx at a charter school, but I also have supervised and am in the middle of supervising leasehold negotiations as well as negotiating with vendors, et cetera. So I know those headaches well. Although not from a committee perspective, but certainly a ground floor perspective. And I look forward to being involved civically and with the community.
Thank you. Donna Ertel.
Hi, I'm Donna Ertel. I've lived in town for 20 years. I have 3 children in the public school system. I have 2 at Ludlow High School right now and a 3rd at Roger Ludlow Middle school. About 5 years ago, I volunteered on a committee with Tom Cullen. There was a facilities volunteer committee, and we were looking at all sorts of stuff, so I started my interest. I'm a corporate interior designer. I've been in the industry for over 25 years. I design, plan. I'm in corporate facilities right now, so I have a big, large background in project management, and I was a big PTA member at Sherman, Roger Sherman, and we went through some projects there, which I wasn't involved with, but I would have loved that time, so I thought I'd give this a shot.
Thank you. Terry Leopold?
My name's Terry Leopold. I've been in Fairfield for 25 years. I've been in real estate, facilities, and that end of the business and commercial end for about 30 years. And am part of the building, the Facilities Commission now, and thought this would be a good opportunity to go a little further.
Thank you. Joseph Pagnozzi?
Good evening. Joseph Pagnozzi. I live at 1496 Fairfield Woods Road. I've been in this town for 18 years, came up from the Bronx. 3 sons went through the Fairfield system and the University System of Connecticut. I presently teach. I'm a chemistry professor at the College of New Rochelle. I've been there 30 years. Fairfield University, I teach chemistry. And Norwalk Community College, I teach chemistry. Now, these are all adjunct positions. I've been in education since 1973. I was a junior high school teacher for 3 years, high school teacher for about 35 years. Fordham Prep, I was chair of the science department, so I know about science, I know about education. I also co-founded a high school, Catholic high school in the Archdiocese of New York called the Montfort Academy, so I was involved in fundraising for them, building, development. So I know education, I've been in it my whole life. I want to share, I have now more experience. I'm 62 years old, so I've been around. And I like to contribute to this marvelous town. I was involved in Little League. I was involved in Scouts. My kids love it, so I want to be here. So I want to give my time. I do have that time and experience, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Robert Sickler?
Hi, I'm Robert Sickler. I've been a Fairfield resident over 30 years. My son has gone through the school, and basically I'm an architect. I've worked in the city for the last 25 years on large projects. Been basically a project manager, and most of the stuff that we'll go through in this is what I've been doing. So I thought it was a great time to give back to the town, which I've been living in for 30 years, and offer the expertise that I have in management.
Thank you. And David Weber?
I've been a resident for 24 years. I was a member of this austere body for 3 years, and as well as the Fairfield Board of Ed. For 6 years I was chairman. I was on the Board of Health, and I thought that I'd lend my experience to this committee to help this great school and to improve it.
Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to open up to the body. Any questions for any of these appointees? If there are any comments, any questions from anybody? Hearing none, at this point, we'll just ask you to sit back down. This is still the committee portion, and the vote will take place at the full meeting very shortly. The only other item is item number 3, which is the moderator has referred amendments to the tax relief for the elderly ordinance, section 95-7 to section 95-15.4 of chapter 95, article 3 of the code of the town of Fairfield, sponsored by the Senior Tax Relief Ordinance Committee, to the Legislation Administration Committee under Rule 32 of the RTM rules to regulate. Now, the LNA committee did meet, I guess last week or 2 weeks ago, but it did not have a quorum, and therefore it did not, was not able to discuss the form of the amendments. Now, was there an amendment that, or was there a motion that was going to be made in regards to this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bates in District 3 and Chairman of LNA. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to do this since we're in the committee, but I'll give it a shot. I'm hoping to put forth a resolution tonight to waive the rules specifically to the ordinance being referred to LNA. that portion. Do you want me to make this now?
Yeah, I mean, make the motion now. if you wanna
Okay,
do that.
sounds good. I'd like to make a motion to,
Right.
that's fine, I can do it then if you want.
The only problem is we will not be able to discuss it as committee of the whole. The reason is so that this can be discussed as a committee of the whole. That's all. So, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't vote to waive the rules now. We're all together. There's a quorum, the full body. It's a noticed meeting. I don't think it has to be an official full RTM meeting. This is the RTM meeting as a quorum. Well, the subcommittee meeting has. So, I think the reason, again, this is very clear. We're just doing this so that we can then discuss this as a committee, because what happens is we do it as a committee, that ends, then we go to the full RTM, and it becomes one of the meetings where we can discuss the substance, not to vote on tonight, because it wouldn't be voted on until next month. So it's just to get out some of these amendments now and just put them in front of the body, and that's it. Yes.
One way to do it is start the official meeting when we can take care of the building committee.
I am very much in favor of doing it the right way.
I think one way to do it is to start the meeting. We can probably take care of the building committee issues. Then I think we can adjourn the meeting, have the motion. If it passes, adjourn the meeting to have a committee meeting, and then reconstitute the meeting to whatever, I guess wherever we are at that point.
I didn't follow you.
So we start the RTM meeting officially. Then we can have the motion. And if that passes, part of the motion can be we can adjourn to have a committee meeting, have the committee meeting, reconvene the RTM meeting, and then go forward. Because I don't think we can act until the meeting, like we can't have a motion to it.
I don't know if there's anything that says we can't act on this. I've read everything in the rules to regulate. There's nothing that says we have a quorum of the RTM. We're together at a noticed meeting. Why can we not make that motion now so that we can hear it officially as a committee, and that is the full body?
How about if we do them both? Do it both. Cover all bases.
Sure.
Sounds good. I'd like to make a motion to suspend Rule Number 32 in the RTM rules to regulate in regards to ordinances such that the proposed amendment to the tax relief for elderly ordinances not have to be referred to the Committee on L&A prior to its being formally listed on the warning for 2 meetings and discussed by appropriate committees prior to each meeting as provided herein.
All right, so I'm going to go back on that and just pretend we didn't hear what you said. And we're going to... I'm glad we all have our sense of humor tonight. All right, so right now we're going to close out the subcommittee, okay? The committee of a whole. And we're going to start the full meeting, at which point you can make the motion. We'll take a recess. And can we have a committee meeting within the recess? I mean, it's kind of silly because we're all here. We can all discuss this. But, again, I don't want to be called out on a technicality, a procedural technicality. Yes, Representative Stamler. What's that?
When we recess to form the committees at the November organizational meeting, we have a recess.
What I would suggest is that we convene the RTM meeting and make a motion to waive the rule requiring L&A to hear the ordinance and requiring ordinance that at the beginning of the RTM meeting, following our business with the building committee, we make a motion, Mr. Bateson make a motion, to waive the rules specifically to have the ordinance heard by LNA and to have the ordinance heard subsequently by committees to which you would refer it. Then we are all right bringing the ordinance, I believe, to the full body tonight, because we will have, if we agree, waived the 2 committee hearings. We don't have to adjourn to anything, I don't think.
Well, we take a recess to officially, well, right, that's fine, that's fine.
But we
Let's
don't
do
have
it that
to
way.
go to committee then. What I'm suggesting is we would not
Yeah.
be going to committees if we waive.
That's-
I believe. I wish we had a...
Yeah, let's just
Parliamentarian
try that, and if it doesn't work in the end, it doesn't work. Yes, Representative Lee. Yeah. We gotta begin this meeting. So,
Move to adjourn.
does anyone, can I have a motion to adjourn the committee meeting? Representative Fellner, second. Representative Bates, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So now, I'd like to welcome everyone to the full RTM meeting. Hello. Hope you enjoyed your summer. Welcome back. You don't have to do anything. The first item is to have the town clerk do the roll call.
Dave Becker. Here. Michael Hurley. Here. Jay Lipp. Gaylord Meyer. Here. Eric Sunman. Pete Ambrose. Here. Amy Jennings. Here. John Matola. Here. Jeff Steele.
Here.
Keith Varian. Ed Bateson.
Here.
Tom Conley. Hank Ferentz. Here. Dave McKenzie. Here. Mary McCullough. Here. Heather Dean. Present. Joe DiMartino. Here. Art Hug. Amy Mezoff. Here. Joe Palmer. Here. Matt Ambrose. Here. Josh Garskoff. Here. Chris McAleese. Ruth Smay. Here. Ann Stamler. Here. Chris Brogan. Here. Lenora Campbell. Here. Julie Gottlieb. Sheila Marmion. Here. Jay Walk. Here. Jen Hochberg. Here. Kevin Hopkins. Here. Eric Newman. Here. Mark Patton. Hal Schwartz. Here. Kathy Braun. Here. Dana Carey. Yeah. Alan Marks. Here. Tom McCarthy. Here. Jeff Stopa. Here. Bill D'Amica. Yeah. Joe Fellner. Here. Ellen Jacob. Nick Marabli. Carol Pontrelli. Here. Chuck Abercrombie. Here. Lee Hannum. Ken Lee. Here. Bruce Ryan. Here. Carol Way. Here.
Okay, we're now going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You just stay standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. We will now move right into item number 2. By the way, we will approve the meeting minutes next month for June and see if Hank Ferentz's meeting will be approved. Joking, Hank. By the way, thank you for running the June meeting. I really appreciate it. I heard it went great. That's what everyone told me. Item number 2, to hear, consider, and act upon the following appointments to the Fairfield-Ludlow High School Building Committee as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Mark Giandre, Democrat, 130 Lakeview Drive. Mark A. Donald, unaffiliated, 360 Zost Drive. Donna B. Artel, Democrat, 375 South Benson Road. Terry F. Leopold, unaffiliated, 146 Coleman Road. Joseph R. Pagnozzi, Republican, 1496 Fairfield Woods Road. Robert Sickler, unaffiliated, 175 Wakeman Road. David F. Weber, Democrat, 1654 North Benson Road. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Garskoff, second Representative Hochberg. We're now going to go to discussion among the body. Representative Bateson.
Ed Bateson, District 3. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'd like to thank all the members. I anticipate you might get appointed, so congratulations. Just one thing, one concern I have, or something I'd like you guys to bear in mind. This committee has differed. The way we formed this committee is different than we formed other committees. if I'm not mistaken, I've already given you guys a pile of cash. And I don't necessarily know what I'm getting. I have an idea of what I'm getting. I saw several different options about what we were getting. And just when you decide what you want to do with certain space, I just appreciate it if, you know, your chairman came back or Mr. Dwyer came back to the RTM and basically gave us, you know, the schematic that you approved and the specs that you're going to be using and how you're going to be spending that money to develop those classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members wish to comment or ask questions? Any members of the public wish to make any comment on the appointees? Okay, we're going to come back to the body and do a just a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the Fairfield-Ludlow High School Building Committee, item number 2, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Congratulations, all of you. We wish you luck. We appreciate your service, and good luck with everything. And thank you for coming tonight, too. Glad we could get this done. All right, so now we move over to item number 3, which is really our last item, second and last item. The moderator has referred amendments to tax relief for the elderly ordinance, Section 95-7 to Section 95-15.4 of Chapter 95, Article 3 of the Code of the Town of Fairfield, sponsored by the Senior Tax Relief Ordinance Committee, to the Legislation Administration Committee under Rule 32, the RTM Rules to Regulate. As I stated, LNA did not have a quorum. So I'm going to go to Mr. Representative Bateson to make his motion that we deleted from the record earlier.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bateson, District 3. Following up on our previous conversation, I'd like to make a motion to suspend Rule number 32 in the RTM's Rules to Regulate in regards to ordinances such that the proposed amendments to the tax relief for elderly ordinance not have to be referred to the Committee on LNA prior to its being formally listed on the warning for 2 meetings and discussed by appropriate committees prior to each meeting as provided herein.
Okay, do I have a second on the motion? Representative Garskoff. Any discussion on the motion to waive the rules? Actually, I don't think there is discussion. I'll waive the rules. Suspend those. No, there's no debate on suspending the rules. So we're going to go right into a vote on suspending the rules. Now, we need a 2/3 vote. And again, I just want to read the motion so we're clear. The motion was to suspend Rule number 32 in the RTM's Rules to Regulate in regards to ordinances such that the proposed amendment to the tax relief for the elderly ordinance not have to be referred to the Committee on Legislation Administration prior to it being formally listed on the warning for 2 meetings and discussed by appropriate committees prior to each meeting as provided herein. Representative Stamler, does that capture, or do you want to? The full committees. Representative Basin, do you want to, before we get a... Okay. Do you want to just come up here for a second and to refer to the Committee on Legislation and Administration? Can we do a motion for a second on it?
There's no second yet.
So you can still amend it. Committee on Legislation and Administration. So if we say refer to the Committee on Legislation and Administration and other RTM committees? And subsequently all other RTM committees, because all ordinances go there, subsequently all other RTM subcommittees. Okay. Do I...
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'll accept Representative Stamler's suggestions and friendly amendment, and will revise my resolution to after legislation and administration insert and subsequently all other RTM subcommittees prior to its being formally go on from there.
Okay. Is there a second on that? Representative Marmion. So now no discussion, no amendment, no debate. Needs a 2/3 vote. I know what your question is. You don't even have to ask it. What Representative Garskoff is asking is, will this go to subcommittees? So what's going to happen now is if this is approved, 2/3 vote, we'll go right now into the full body, and the presenters, whoever they will be, will just present the amendments, and we can discuss them. No vote. Then next month, it goes on the agenda again to all committees and for a vote. Okay? All right. So now we're going to vote on this motion to suspend the rules. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, raise hands. Representative Schwartz. Abstentions. Okay, so the motion passes. Now we have this before us, and I think Representative McCarthy and Representative Patton is not here. Okay, all right. You want to just come up and discuss some of the amendments?
All right, everybody should have a revised copy of the text from Article 3 of the tax relief for elderly and disabled homeowners. In substance, what we have done is reinsert the enhancement for the deferral program. Now, if you all recall, we had placed this in initially last year, an enhanced deferral program in addition to the enhanced credit program. But long in December, we found out that procedures weren't being followed. If a deferral, if a lien is written under the context of tax deferral, it cannot be collected after 15 years. We subsequently learned that the liens were being filed incorrectly. We got our arms around it. The liens had to be filed under the context of tax relief, and therefore they were collectible. There were some processes not going according to procedure. That's been since rectified by Cinda, the town tax collector, and we now feel comfortable about reinserting the enhanced deferral back into the changes that we made collectively last year, and we're prepared to go forward, and then had to shift gears at the last minute. So I'll just call your attention to two parts. All right, we put an additional ceiling in there relative to the deferral. The total amount of deferral can be deferred under option 2 is limited to $500,000 in any tax year. That's under 95-11. Okay? 95-11. I didn't hear you. The total amount can be deferred under option 2. Okay, I see what you're saying. Option. Okay, good correction. Hal just made note of the fact that the text, it says option 2 when it should say option B. Okay, but the under tax deferral option B, it's been changed as follows. For taxpayers age 75 or older at the end of the preceding tax year and meeting the eligibility of 95-8 and having qualifying income not exceeding $80,000 may elect to apply for deferral up to 50% of the gross tax levied on the applicable property tax each year in which the taxpayer or his surviving spouse continues to meet such eligibility requirements subject to the following, and it lists all the following. The net of it is, up till now, the deferral program covered an amount over and above what was taxed in a given year. So if in year one your taxes, pick a number, $6,000 for the year, in the subsequent year it was $7,000, you could defer that increment above the $6,000. No longer. This option gives the taxpayer the ability to defer 1/2 of their tax for any tax year. So that's the enhancement to the program. It's kind of a measured response. We've modeled it to a limited extent after Darienne's proposal. It gets us off to kind of a very measured start, but at least gets us along the way to having a tax deferral program, you know, of a broader and more rich scale than we had before. So again, it's back to what we were last year. It's kind of a measured approach, and we want to get off to, quote unquote, a careful start on this, and each year it can be modified. And in the long run, maybe 2 or 3 decades from now, it will ultimately become self-sustaining because the taxpayers who put back in the program will be in effect funding future deferrals. So any questions?
Do you want to specify 95-8 under B and then 95-11? I know they're all changes that refer to the section you just read, but do you need to note them? There's 3 sections that you've amended or put in red.
Right.
Just come over here. Tom, just come over here. Right over here. No, I just didn't know if you needed to. Just have you already covered this and this? I know it all. I know
those
in the
other
end,
points, yeah.
it refers to this. This is the major change.
Yeah.
But this is also a change here.
Right. Okay.
As well as here.
Yeah. No, I can discuss them. They're peripheral, but
Yeah.
But it's a good point. As Jeff points out, there are other smaller changes which really don't affect the deferral specifically, but Don Ross requested we put them in just to further specify other elements of the code. As we move forward this year, he identified some things which created some confusion, and he wanted some greater clarity in the language. And so 95-8B, paragraph, second sentence, if the taxpayer's initial year of filing was for an odd-numbered grand list year, refiling will occur for an odd-number grand list year. Again, this goes back to the fact that last year we moved from annual to biannual. They'll be filing every 2 years to reduce the work, and this is just further clarifies what that means, when to start, when it begins for any given taxpayer. And the other, I don't think there's any other, again, in substance, what we're doing is reinserting. Yeah, and, okay. And that, again, that in 95-11, I alluded to the fact that we placed a cap specifically on the deferral itself to $500,000. So, again, that's just to limit the degree to which, what impact there could be to the program. Net of it is there's about 14 or 15 people who take advantage of the deferral program currently, which is about the same number as Darien, even on their enhanced deferral program. And despite the fact it's enhanced, we hear exactly the same objected. Taxpayers are just simply reluctant to place a lien on the house, which would be a requirement of taking advantage of the deferral. The reason we have a deferral is it's a last resort kind of scenario in which taxpayers come to us and say, I can no longer afford to live in Fairfield. And the deferral is held out there as an alternative for those taxpayers who feel they're in a dire enough situation that will require them actually to leave. So we don't expect a huge bump, if you will, in participation in terms of number of people actually taking advantage of the deferral program, despite the fact it's now enhanced. We expect there'll be something in the order of 15, even a double that is 30. Just given the $500,000 ceiling and given the number of participants and the average tax that they would pay, it would take 130 participants to hit that ceiling, and so we feel it's a good number and an acceptable risk. Any questions?
Is there any questions? Representative Schwartz.
Okay, I thought I might.
Yeah. Hal Schwartz, District 7. I'm going to go back to the original questions that I had when we looked at this in January. The Senior Tax Relief Program has a financial impact on the taxes of the town. We put a number in based on what we have now. Can you tell us, or can you get for us, what the financial... Should I hold it?
Hold it. There we go.
Go ahead. Okay. So what we need to know is because the town budgets the senior tax relief as a revenue reduction, the town is going to need to know when this body votes on this next month, if it votes on it next month, it is going to affect the budget that the next body is going to have to vote on. Therefore, this body and the next body are going to need to know what the revenue projections are going to be, so somebody has an idea of what the possible tax increase that will have to be budgeted for based on the revenue projections from this. So the question I had in January, the question I have again now is, what are the revenue projections that are going to be with this increase? Because anticipated, exactly, because we have to anticipate it because we won't know until after the budget's passed. So we did that for what we have in place. Now we got more we're going to have to put in place, and I think this body needs those numbers before we vote on that. So the question I have for you is, do you have the numbers? And if not, can you have the numbers for us for the next meeting?
Okay, just a second.
Yeah, I've done some back-of-the-napkin estimates on it. My guess is it's going to be very small. Something if for this deferral program specifically, probably something in the order of $50,000. I just don't think we're going to have that many participants. In terms of the credit program itself, well, actually, the credit program was actually substantially less than initially modeled because we didn't have attrition. But anyway, I do believe it's you know, I can run up estimates based on number of participants and at average. So we think at average it'll be about $3,700 for each and every person who decides to sign up for it. I'm guessing 30, twice Darien. It's about $100,000.
Yeah, well, my problem is I'm afraid to guess because it's going to be a revenue number. So I think I can't have a back of the napkin. I can't have what you think. I think we need some real projections from the people who do this. We got them for the basis that we have right now, so we were able to put a number in the budget, and I think we're going to let the next body that comes in here have a relative good number to put in the budget. I don't think we can put back of the napkins in here because right now, if you look at the numbers on here, we can go to $7.2 million, and that's where this number could end up as a revenue, a descending revenue at 2.5% of the budget.
I'm happy to go back and sharpen my pencil and have either Don Ross or Bob Mayer validate my numbers. Hal. I said, Hal, I'm happy to you know, run a model and have both Don Ross or Bob Mayer validate it. Okay.
I just want to have stuff for next month so we know what we're looking
at. The only problem is it's. You know, we had prior year's data on a credit. And despite the fact we have prior year's data on the deferral, I'm actually estimating a little high. at $50,000, because you know, again, we're the best we can do is based on the number of participants based on history. The problem is history is on a relatively inexpensive deferral program as compared to an enhanced deferral program. But we know of other communities with the enhanced deferral program. We know what their participation is like, and it's no different from ours. So, I mean, if I were to give you a number right now, and to be honest, I mean, I can put it all in a spreadsheet and give you $100,000 roughly, and that's probably what it's going to come out to. And then I can have Don and Bob validate it. All right.
Representative Lee.
Representative Lee, District 10. I won't bother asking anybody a raise of hands for those people who are opposed to senior tax relief, okay? Because I don't think anybody's opposed to senior tax relief, so we can just put that one right out of the way. I think what I hear about this is that we have some more conditions and some more potential for expenses. Last year, we reduced our contingency fund and by $800,000. And if you recall, things happened. The library was closed part-time, less people at the beach. There was a lot of things that happened because that money had to come from somewhere. There's expenses, there's revenue, and we had to fix that. Now, this year we experienced the fact that not a lot of people took advantage of the new senior tax relief. That was my impression. Not as many people. It didn't go up significantly. So we really didn't accomplish yet what we're trying to accomplish, which is to get more seniors tax relief. It's certainly possible that if we publicize this and make people more aware between now and next year, that that's going to happen. Now, my impression is that what we're talking about doesn't occur this year. It occurs next tax season. So if we vote on it today, or if we vote on it in March, there's really no difference. So all I think I'm suggesting here is that we give a little bit of thought to projecting out if we get 10% more or 15% more, what does that cost and how does that affect our budget? We're not saying we don't want to do tax relief. We're not saying we're against senior tax relief. What we are saying is let's make sure we know what we're voting for in dollars and cents so that when we're budgeting next year, we budget appropriately. And I think that's really what Hal's trying to say.
Representative Marks.
Thank you, Alan Marks, District 8. I just want to say, first of all, that I'm very happy to have this back on the call. When we removed it, I spoke at that point, and I was disappointed because this is the option that will give seniors some real tax relief because there's some real numbers here. That having been said, the reason that this is referred to LNA is to have the LNA committee review the form from a legal standpoint, so I'm going to put on my legal hat, which I am extremely unqualified to wear, and just ask a couple questions of Mr. McCarthy. First of all, have these changes been reviewed by legal in the town at all?
I passed them along to Mike, and at Mike's discretion, I asked him to delegate that, or to Bob, to Stanton. Okay, so maybe Mike will speak to it.
Yes, I forwarded them on to Attorney Lesser, and unfortunately, when we heard that the subcommittee didn't have a quota, we didn't expect this to be on the agenda, so Attorney Lesser didn't get back, and otherwise he would have planned on attending tonight to address that.
Okay, thank you. Also, you do have in 1511 that there's this limit of 500,000. I'm wondering if there's any merit to also putting it in 9515B, because you say any taxpayer age 75 or older, et cetera, is may elect to apply, but there's nothing in there that says if there's any money left, you know, if the $500,000 has not been reached yet. So again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just wondering if there's any merit to adding it in there just as another qualifier so we don't run into trouble. Just a suggestion, for the senior committee.
Well, what happens is if that ceiling's reached, then it becomes prorated across that program. So it, I don't know if it needs to be there, but it may be belt and suspenders at this point. Just given the fact that we put in there specifically for the deferral.
Okay. Can you just explain this? This is the last sentence in 9511 here. So there are two limits that are talked about, the 2.5% of the total property tax being one limit, and the second is this limit of $500,000 for this particular plan. And then it says, in the event that the foregoing limitation, which maybe should say limitations, on relief is reached, relief shall be prorated among the applicants. I'm not sure what that means. If we've already reached the 2.5% or the 500,000, what's left to be prorated?
Yeah, the 2.5% speaks to the whole program.
Yep.
The 500,000 speaks specifically to the deferral option. Okay, so within the program, you've got 3 different options you can choose from.
So if the 500,000 is reached?
Yeah, then deferral, then proration begins specifically within the context of the deferral. Deferral only.
But the 500,000 is for the deferral.
That's right.
I'm thick here, so.
Okay, so if enough people were to sign up, so 130 participants, because average.
Oh, sorry, I understand. So I thought it was in the order in which they applied.
No.
Okay, all right. So it's not that once it's reached, someone else may apply and then they're out of luck. There's a pool of people who apply, and if it's over 500,000, it's spread out across all of them.
Right, within the deferral.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? Representative Brogan? I'm sorry. Yeah, Representative Brogan. Sorry.
Chris Brogan, District 6. Just a question. In 9515B, the eligibility age went from 65 to 75.
Correct.
And I forget if that was there before, and when we were talking about the first time, and what's the reasoning behind raising the age?
We want to, in the long term, this will be a self-sustaining program. However, in the short term, it represents revenue forgone. So it's very important that we start slow. So we're limiting the size of the pool who would fulfill the qualifications. So for the deferral, you have 2 qualifications, over $80,000 and 75 years or older. Okay, so we're, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Representative Mazoff.
Amy Mezoff, District 4. I just have a couple of technical issues. Under 9515B3, it's a little bit confusing. All benefits shall be subject to an interest charge at the greater of the annual percentage rate of 3% and the rate on 10-year Treasury. Is this an or? Is it one or the other? Because when you read the rest of it, it would imply that it's not 3% plus the 10-year Treasury.
Let's see.
I think it's an or.
That's interesting.
Thank you very much.
But that was from, we didn't touch this at all, and I thought we'd actually corrected the or before.
Okay, just checking because I think that's.
Yeah, I'll go back.
Okay, that's fine. The other was, the other question I have, and this is probably, it's a matter of law, and it may be, it has to do with it in the deferral section. Is the town subordinate, for example, to a mortgage? Someone passes away and owes the town a lot of money, and there's a lien on the house, but the mortgage exceeds what's owed to the town. Who's in first position, the bank or?
Well, the town's ahead of the line, number one, and also,
Okay. So
you can only, elsewhere in here, and I can spot it, it's something like 70 or 80% of the value of the home anyway. You can you sign up for. I'll just have to find it for you.
Okay.
So
I just want to be sure it's covered that the town is in first position.
Yeah.
is all I'm
Oh,
asking.
absolutely. As a matter of fact, if you already have a reverse mortgage, you can't sign up for this option.
Okay, that's in here.
It's
hope.
not in here, but it's...
Should be.
It may be in here. I can't remember now.
I don't remember seeing it. Okay, that was it, just two.
It's a year ago.
Thanks.
Representative Matola?
In other words, no, it's a question, you get it, okay, and suppose you already have a rules.
John Matola, District 2. On 9511, I just maybe have a suggestion. The $500,000 is included in the 2.5%, correct?
Right.
Okay, so what I would suggest is the very last sentence to make it clear is that we say, in the event that the foregoing limitation on total tax relief is reached, relief shall be prorated among applicants. Because the way I read this, and I'm putting my legal hat on, is someone could interpret the last sentence to refer to only the $500,000.
It would be for the 500,000 within the context of the deferral program. So that if we reach $500,000 for the deferral, that would also trigger proration.
Right. Okay. But if you reach a 2.5%, that would trigger proration
correct,
too.
Correct. There's two ways to trigger it.
Okay. That's fine. It just
But the 500 applies only to the deferral.
What do you want to do? Why don't you just say, in regards to the deferral, is reached, relief should be prorated among...
Okay.
Just-
okay.
We
Something
could do
like
that. Yeah.
You know, that's all.
Okay.
Just don't want someone questioning it later.
No, you're right. That's why we got back and.
John, we're actually hearing the amendment. We read the ordinance, so if that's an amendment, make it second. We're not doing L&A, so.
Okay.
That's an amendment.
I'll second it.
Okay.
We gotta get it on the record.
All right, how should we read it then? What language did you want to put in there? Did you suggest?
Let's see
Because I think you don't want my language.
No, maybe, well,
I would just do it.
You stepped up
on
here.
relief in regards to the deferral option
Yeah.
is reached, right?
Yeah.
Relief shall be prorated, right?
Yeah.
Where are we, 95-12?
So the motion would be on 95-11, in the event that the foregoing limitation on relief
In regards to the deferral option.
in regards to the deferral option is reached, relief shall be prorated among applicants. That make sense?
So a motion is being made by Representative Matola to amend this by stating in 95-11, last sentence, in the event that the foregoing limitation on relief and the amended language or the additional language is on relief in regards to the deferral option, quote unquote, is reached, relief shall be prorated among applicants. Second, Representative Way, or is that a question? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Suggesting a motion at this point, whether or not that's the appropriate way to deal with suggested.
Yeah, this is.
John, how about this? I'm just rereading it. Hal already picked up on it. This addition is specific to option B, okay? So that's clear, and the total of all relief granted under the provisions of these programs not exceed, so that's clearly
Includes everything.
overarching, okay? So in the event that the foregoing limitation of relief on either, well, let's see, this is only an option, this is the overall program, the portion is reached, relief shall be prorated. Well, let's see, in foregoing limitation on relief, in the event that.
Are you trying to state the
Well,
whole thing, or what is your intention?
all we're really saying is that either limitation could trigger proration. Okay, so how, in the event that foregoing, that either.
That either limitation
Well,
on relief.
either foregoing limitation, right?
Sure, either one, yep.
Okay. I think that'll do it, and put B back there, because Hal caught that,
Yeah.
we ought to be good. Okay, you want to make that?
So that's the motion. The motion would be.
Okay, yeah.
Motion is that in the event that
Do a dramatic reading.
in the event that,
I want to read option B.
oh, option B, all right. So,
just read from here, the
yeah,
total.
the total amount, here's the amendment. Total amount that can be deferred under option B, see 95-15B, is limited to a maximum of $500,000 in any tax year. In the event that either the foregoing
Either foregoing
either foregoing limitation on relief is reached, relief shall be prorated among applicants.
Yep.
So that's the motion.
So we're adding, right, so we're adding,
You're adding B instead
we're
of option
changing a
2.
letter,
Yeah.
and we're adding a word. These are the only amendments here. Does everyone know what the amendment is? Okay. Second by Representative Garskoff. Discussion on the amendment. Representative Bateson.
Yeah, I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to insert at the end there where it says applicants, just insert qualified applicants. So that it's somebody that's been in the plan and is approved.
Do you accept that? I do. So where's the qualified?
Qualified applicants.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Hal, I got to go back to your point about we still have under option B in there. I think we should just strike under option B because there really is no such thing as option B. It says C95-15B. That's what we're referring to. By keeping under option B in there, we're just confusing this. I'm sorry? 95-15B is the deferral option. So, and it's included in there parenthetically, so we'll just leave it there, strike under option B, because there really is no option B. So, John, do you accept that as a... Correct.
I'll read the whole thing again. I'm sorry, All right, I'm going to read the whole thing. So this is how it's going to read, 95-11. And it's only going to start with where it says the total amount that can be deferred under 95-15, comma B is limited to a maximum of $500,000 in any tax year. In the event that either foregoing limitation on relief is reached, relief shall be prorated among qualified applicants. Second on the motion. Discussion on the amended language. Any comments from the public on the amended language? Now we're going to vote on the amended language. We're not voting on the whole thing tonight, just the amended language. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so that's the new language. Are there any other comments or questions or discussion among the body on the changes, on the amendments to the ordinance? Representative Bateson.
Tom, I just want to follow up. We're striking 5, which tax can be deferred up to a period of 13 years, and we had that whole issue several months ago.
We actually inserted that at the end of last year when the issue came up about collectability beyond 15 years. So that was we had a number of concerns when this surfaced. We inserted that at that point in time so that we didn't want to expand the deferral program when we knew we had a problem. And the other thing we wanted to do for anybody entering in the deferral at that point in time until this was resolved, we want to limit it to 13 years. So now that we've got our arms around how the lien needs to be written and that it is collectible, we don't need that in there any longer. That wasn't there prior to last year.
So when you mean collectible, I remember the issue was that liens expired, or they went stale after a point of time?
Yeah, a lien which was filed as a tax deferral could not be collected after 15 years. A lien that was filed under the context of tax relief could be collected after 15 years. Okay?
And we know that now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, thanks, Tom. Let me give you this. Okay, so just moving on here, we're really done, but we go to number 4, to consider and act upon any other matters represented in said meeting and which may be properly acted upon under the rules of representative town meeting. However, before we depart, Representative Braun just wanted a moment of personal privilege.
Kathy Braun, District 8. I wanted to thank every member of this RTM and Mike Tetro. I'd like to shake your hand. I wish Metro Center had gone the way Exide has gone. While I'm not 100% happy, I mean, I would have liked to seen a cleanup at this level, but we started out at this level. We're ending up around here. So I'm really happy that Mill River, the case has been settled. The 2 intervening parties, which are the town under Mike's leadership and Fair Plan, have withdrawn their interventions into the state DEP hearing, and the cleanup will move forward. This property will be developed. It will be restored to full taxable revenue, and that's a win-win for everybody. I think this is a case where you have green people and people who worry about taxes and development all sort of agreeing together. So I just wanted to give a few thanks to a few people. Mike Tetro, who I found out used to go skating on Mill River in the ponds as I did, and Shellfish Commission, Conservation Commission, Harbor Management Commission, all of which were very proactive. They attended on a volunteer basis many meetings and work sessions, and they actually wanted to intervene, and they did an incredible amount of work. Conservation Director Stanky, who has been studying this property for 40 years and doing copious amounts of research. Without him, we would not have any improvement at all. Our state delegation, McKinney, Kupchik, Huang, and Fawcett, they all pressured DEP to expand the level of hearings that were taking place. And Fair Plan. These are private individuals that went out and did things. But every member of this RTM has expressed interest in it, and many of you signed a letter on an individual basis to the DEP, which helped because our voice had not been heard. When our voice was finally heard, things happened up there. And the project, while, again, it doesn't go as far as I'd like to see it go, at least it's going to happen, and it's far superior. The 2 drainage pipes that I was concerned about, that I believe there's evidence there's lead and it's not going to be tested, the DEP has assured us they will retain jurisdiction over it. And if there's a problem and lead is found, they will do something about it. So that was my biggest concern with compromising. Any settlement is a compromise, and it's voluntary. And all the parties have compromised, and that has allowed the cleanup to go forward. So I just want to say our voice has been heard, and I want to thank Mike again and thank all of you guys, because I believe that this is the best situation we could have achieved, and communication will be improved, and we'll know what's going on much more so than what happened with Metro Center. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Braun. That's great news. And on that note, the next meeting will be on Monday, September 23rd at 8 p.m. here at the Board of Ed headquarters. I have a motion to adjourn. Representative Ryan, and a second, Representative Mezoff. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, everybody.